All right. I would like to acknowledge everybody here in attendance. My name is Trina Scharschmidt, and I'm the chairperson. I have with me Paige Konopowski. Peg couldn't be here tonight. And we also have Melanie Cunningham, our president, who is the ex officio. We are also joined by our staff, and tonight it is Dr. Farina and Dr. Wallach and Dr. Campbell.
And Mr. Roth.
And Mr.
Don't forget.
Not Dr.
Mr. Roth is also here and is also extremely important as well. Let's see, I would like to I would like to get a motion to approve the previous minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? Hearing none. Let's see, do we approve this agenda?
No.
We don't.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, we'll move on to what is on our agenda, and that is a presentation by Dr. Wallach for some new textbooks.
Thank you. Tonight we're going to share with you 2 new courses and 1 revised course, as well as the Act 339 plan. And 2 of the courses have requests for textbook approval, which is what you have in front of you. Before we talk through those 3 courses, I just wanted to review with you what our process is when we write curriculum. We start with the end in mind. We use a format called Understanding by Design, which begins with where we want students to be, and we work backwards from there. So I'm just sharing the 3 stages of Understanding by Design with you so you understand our process. The first one is to what they call identify the desired results, which means what do we want students to know and be able to do. And we list some guiding questions there. What are our established goals? What big ideas do we want students to come to understand? What essential questions can stimulate inquiry and motivate students, and what knowledge and skills are needed for students to reach those understandings. And of course, we always start with the Pennsylvania core standards. That's our desired result, in addition to the other things that we want our students to get from the class. Once we establish that, we go to stage 2, which is determining acceptable evidence. So what evidence will we have to let us know if the students are progressing towards the desired results? What is sufficient and telling evidence of understanding? Keeping the goals in mind, what performance tasks should anchor and focus each unit? What criteria will we use to assess the work? And will the assessment reveal and distinguish those who really understand the desired results versus those who may not? And then once we've established the end goal and how we'll know if students are reaching that goal, we plan the learning experiences and the instruction with the strategies that we'll use, the activities that we'll do. So with that in mind, we're joined by 2 of our fantastic teachers who have put in all the work to create 2 of our courses. And the first, I forgot about the slide, sorry. These are all the courses that we'll present to you this meeting and the next 2 meetings. This year, teachers revised psychology, high school geometry, high school numeric geometry, short fiction, and the middle school library curriculum. And on the right side are the brand new courses that were developed this year, which we're really excited about. When we talk about students' perception that schoolwork may not be relevant to their future, we really feel like we're creating courses that are relevant for our students and revising our courses to try to meet those needs. So the new courses that you'll be hearing about are journalism, public speaking, criminal justice, women in history, AP human geography, and creative writing. Journalism isn't brand new, but it was significantly revised. So we're going to start with criminal justice, and that's Ms. Matoza, and I'll just hand out to you the curriculum document and then the quote for the text, and that is the quote that you're looking at, the book that you have right there, the blue book. Okay? So this elective course introduces students to the foundation, structure, and current issues within the American criminal justice system. So students will explore 3 core components of the system: law enforcement, the court system, and corrections, but will also be examining the laws and rights that shape how justice is administered. Through real-world case studies and class discussions, students will gain insight into how criminal law functions and how individual rights are protected. The course will also address modern challenges in criminal justice, including youth crime, drug enforcement, and hate crime, encouraging students to think critically about fairness, accountability, and reform. The units of studies includes the introduction to criminal justice, law enforcement and policing, the court systems and legal process, criminal law and legal rights, corrections and rehabilitation, and the special topics in criminal justice.
That's lofty.
Yes.
That's a lot of information.
Yes.
That's great.
And it's open to 11th and 12th graders, and from program planning, they had 186 students sign up for it.
Wow.
I see there's overlap with like American civics, with Constitution.
And so the text that when we looked at different texts, we looked at, I think that we looked through 4. We wanted one that was at the high school reading level, engaging for students, and Ms. Matoso put a lot of time and energy and thought into like the students' experience and what would benefit them the most from the course, and the text really aligns with that. So our request is for a class set of the print copy of the text, and so that's what you have.
Does it come with digital, did you say that already? Does it have digital access for the students or no?
I think you got. Yeah, I think it says it on the course, which I'm sorry, I don't have a copy for myself.
Oh, it's right.
It says free materials.
Yes, they do always throw some free ones. Yeah, the online teacher.
The online is just for the teacher?
Yes. I don't think we got online.
I think you had a quote from.
Because usually that's an extra cost.
I should know, I'm sorry, I'm not sure. It says bundle.
Okay.
I can look, let me look through my email while Ms. Bard, print and digital,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes, on the second
The
page.
digital copies are the same number of print copies? Is there a max? Like, just curious, so you know.
This is like the code, I don't know if you get like a subscription code, and that's good for, I don't know if that runs yearly or 2 years.
Right.
I don't know if it's like a one-base code.
I'm not sure either. What I'll do is when now we have the program planning numbers, I might have to adjust the number. But I don't know, primarily we talked about using the hard copy in the
Yeah.
classroom. And so I can get back to
But
you
if
about
they have
that.
to take it home, like they might want digital access, you can
Right.
understand. So if a class set is 30 of these, do
Right.
you have only 5 digital passes, or do you also have 30 digital passes? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it runs like yearly, there's a code,
Right.
and you have X amount, I'm not sure how it runs.
Because if you don't have enough digital passes, maybe you want like a few extra to put in the, do you check out books? Would your library house them and check them out to kids who need to be absent or something?
Right, it could. Yeah, we have to be honest, I was surprised by the 186 number. So I may have to increase the cost on the quote to, now it's a semester course, so all 186 wouldn't be taking it at one time. So we have to see.
Is it one section each semester?
We don't know the
we don't.
schedule for next year.
I don't know
Where's
I'm
Frank?
not,
I know, we should get him back. Where'd he
I'm
go?
not sure the total sections.
I can actually look.
Looking at it, I think they might have it broken down to 8 sections.
Okay,
186 divided by.
okay,
Okay.
so I have to
So
revise
it'll
the
be a
quote.
mix of both first semester and second semester.
Oh, so you could only use once per semester. Okay, I understand.
That's what we're doing with this, with the psychology text.
This is just a random question, but I'm curious. When you buy curricula or textbooks and things like this, is there any, provided with that cost, are there like accommodations or accessibility things? Like, do you have, would you have something that's rented to students, or like for visual accommodations?
So I can tell you, and I'm just gonna add, with Title II, digital accessibility, that is all vendors have to
Have to-
verify
that's
that
what
they
I'm
have
saying, so.
digital accessibility.
Okay.
So, we're working on a totally different angle, making sure all of our vendors are entitled to, digitally accessible,
Okay.
under ADA, so.
Okay.
We learned today that some lists are coming from the IU that are fairly extensive, that'll get us,
Right.
down the road there. but
They're
there's
held
a
to
lot.
that same standard.
There's
Okay.
a lot.
So all or all, everything that's
Yeah, all
reviewed, but also,
resources.
okay. Get those words out, so thank you.
Okay.
Any questions about criminal justice or?
I think that's awesome. So many students are excited about that.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. Definitely a topic of interest.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take it.
You also have, she also has guest speakers planned.
Oh,
Yes,
I was gonna ask about
Yeah,
that.
I've been in contact with Maureen Coggins, so she was a former DA, and she's the judge for here. So I have phone numbers for like the 911 center. I know Dr. Farina sent something to Frank, and he forwarded it to me with the behind the badge. I emailed them today, by the way. They do like a 2-day program covering some of the stuff that I'll be covering, but they'll have stuff from the county. And like police officers, Rodney Blake offered to come in to teach it, so I was like, all right. So yeah, police
I used to be
officers.
a court reporter.
Oh, perfect, yeah, all right, come on in.
You're gonna be a special guest.
Yeah, yeah.
job. Yeah, right?
Yes, you can come in. Once a week, trying to just get people who are in the field to come in, and they have the, experience.
I love it.
That's a great, the career education, standard connection, talk about relevance for students, and like it connects to our government course, which.
Hopefully I'm excited.
That's great.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next class, was a revision, is psychology, and Mrs. Barsh is going to speak to that.
Hi, so this is a revision for 2 reasons. One is it used to be a year-long course, and it has now morphed into a semester course, which is actually now, but it also has taken on the role of a dual enrollment possibility for students. So within the class, they have academic, the class is an academic class, but if you sign up for dual enrollment, you're held to a certain number of different standards to meet the college criteria and the rigor of the college class. So it's sort of a mix, and the intended role, because I also teach the AP Psychology, was to have access for general education students, but then when the dual enrollment piece was added, we wanted to also be able to accommodate that as well. All right, so this course really introduces students to the field of psychology, and they explore key theories and research in the field, and the whole idea is so they gain just a basic understanding of how everyday concepts in psychology apply to their life. And when you were talking about relevance, I tell my students, I was like, shh, but there's no other course that's going to be more relevant to you if you process this, that I hope, my goal is that when you leave this class, that you're going to look at the world a little bit differently and a little bit more in depth. So we look at the human behavior from multiple perspectives, including biological, cognitive, and social. And the units of study are, the first one is Welcome to the World of Psychology, and what we do in that section is we look at popular myths and like TikTok and different things that are out there that are not solidified by research, and then we talk about why the field of psychology arose and how it's grounded in science. The second one is the biological basis of behavior, which students actually love. It talks about the nervous system, the endocrine system, and the brain, basically. And we use those, and I try to have them apply those concepts to either their behavior or hobby or sport or some kind of brain research or something that is pertinent to them. The next section is learning and cognition, which we actually usually start with after the intro, and that has to do with cognition, memory, how our memory works, and how encoding works, and effortful processing of content, and learning obstacles and studying skills. So that I sort of start first, and then we go into the biology, so then they have to learn and memorize the neurotransmitters and all of those things. The next one is developmental psychology, and that is, we look at social theorists like Piaget and Erickson, and then others like Vygotsky that aren't so, common, and then they apply that to either their life, or occasionally I've done it with the AP students, I've done it with, you're now parents, and apply these theories to your kids as they would grow up. The next one we didn't do in the year-long course, but I needed to add it because of the curriculum that the dual enrollment people have me using. So we are now incorporating social psych, and that's using terms of social psychology, like the bystander effect or social trap, or all these different terms, 2 different case scenarios. And the last one, which is the one that most people like and sign up for, is the mental health piece and well-being. And that starts off with like, what is stress and how stressed are you, and how can we deal with that? What's the impact of stress on the body and the brain? And then what are some of the clinical disorders that are out there? How do they treat them? And then hopefully, ending sort of like on a positive psychology note. These are things that you can do to help you navigate your life.
If you need a guest speaker for that, my daughter-in-law is a psych PA.
I would love that. Yes, I wanted to bring in like a psychiatrist or psychologist to talk about treatments and talk about that thing, but it's very difficult to find people that will come in.
I can come in, I'm stressed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I
Take
think
one
when we're
box.
all stressed, we can do that. I actually talked with my AP class today. I was like, okay, we're gonna start off with, let's list your stresses, and they really got into it.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some SEL embedded into the curriculum.
I have
So,
a couple questions.
Oh, sure.
Is it okay for me to ask now? Your academic course is a half year, is a semester, is that correct?
It's a semester.
It's a semester, and then you just teach that same thing again the second semester like that, okay. And then the DE course, do you have, the DE is year-long?
No, the DE is also semester.
Are they in the same room together?
They are.
Okay,
Now, so the DE students, and this is the first year we've had the DE students, but I've had, my DE students are gonna be held to a little bit higher, and I really struggled with putting it together this
Yeah.
way, but I didn't want to try to get the general ed students having to rise to the level of the college level. I wanted it accessible to everybody. So I ended up just like making it, the DE students having to have certain different requirements. So the textbook that I'm using, and I really struggled with this textbook, but I like the textbook because I think it has a good rigor, but it also has a lot of interesting,
The orange one.
a
the red
lot of
one.
interesting stories. And we're using the online version, which chunks it out, all right? So they're not seeing all that text like all at once, it's like page by page. And I can assign different sections to different students online, and there's like multiple choice and practice questions. So I can assign a little bit different, longer sections for the DE students and more the practice. And then the DE students also have one each semester projects that they're working on simultaneously.
so this is DE, this is academic, is
No,
that correct?
no, the top book is gonna be both DE and academic.
Uh-huh.
The DE is gonna
Bottom one's
read
AP.
a lot more of it, all right, and they're gonna be, the academic will be more guided through it with tier assignments and things like that. The DE students do a peer review, 46-page paper
Mhm.
on either cognition or biological makeup, and applying that to a real life scenario. So they're doing that simultaneously during the regular course, and in the second semester, they're doing a clinical disorder, like an overview synopsis.
I understand
Yeah.
AP has different, they have a certain test, they have certain things to meet. And this is the book for the other course.
Yeah, the AP,
Okay.
the AP
Just trying to see
class.
if we can
not do two, maybe, but.
Yeah,
we
no,
have to,
because the
it's
AP,
different.
yeah.
the AP College Board mandates that you have a specific text,
Yeah.
and they have a list of them, and that is one of the ones that is on the list. It is just a revised textbook from the past one that we
This
have
one?
used, yes.
Okay.
The one that we used was the second edition, I think this is the fourth edition, and there's been a curriculum rewrite in 2024, which we did not update at that point.
And this is a new textbook?
Yes,
correct?
that is a new textbook.
Right.
And I'm just getting the online version only. I don't think I'll have some sample, I'll have a few of the scattered in the room for anybody that wants to check it out, or maybe, like, that was a great idea, putting it in the library. But everyone will have an access during the time that they are in my class.
Okay,
For the
so
online.
digital copy only,
Only.
and you may want to order some hard copies, like for the library or something
Yes,
like that.
yeah, I didn't think of that. I have already two, I could probably ask for another two, and then maybe order two.
Yeah, I,
So
I
that's the
recommend
book
it.
with
Do
the,
you?
the
Yes.
Norton. That's the Norton one.
this,
Yeah, I was just trying to keep your costs down, but I mean, if
Thank
we
you.
wanted to order 10 or, whatever, I think that would be phenomenal.
I'll make a note. Sounds exciting.
I mean, I like keeping costs down too, but I will just say that some students, like, depending on their circumstance, and I have a student currently who's out on medical, and for her situation, she needs the paper
Oh,
copy,
definitely.
like.
Like, I have 3 copies right now,
Okay.
so, yeah. But to order some more, I think that would be a good idea.
Maybe if you,
Yes.
and then I understand this one. This one you're getting,
That's the VFW, quote, top left, VFW, yeah, getting 37. on
and
it.
it's, print and
AP.
digital.
No, I wasn't getting the print, but I would like to have some
A couple
as
copies.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was good.
That's a healthy.
It is. Well, we used, in the past, we used only the books. So I had the books, and I told the students at the beginning of the year, it's like, take this home and leave it there. Don't schlep it back and forth, leave it there and use it, yeah. But I do think that the online version offers a lot of interesting and helpful study tools that I like.
Okay.
I'll email
I'm sorry.
you. I'll email you. I'll ask her.
Oh, thank you.
And,
I appreciate it.
She works for a psychiatrist, and he's old, and he does the Zappy treatment, and it's really a cool practice, actually. Okay.
Total side note, and you're in charge of running this how you want. I teach DE as well, and I have some students who don't take the DE credit, but I do teach them all the same.
I know.
And I have gotten to the point where I can say that they come to my class and I meet them where they are. And then they, at the end, they all rise up.
What do you teach?
Dual enrollment composition.
Composition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it could be different. I don't know the content of this, but like, that's just totally a side note, not as a board director, just as a, I also teach DE, and so, yeah, I don't run it differently. The one place I might say that I make different decisions is like on according to the individual student. So I might just like choose, here, you need a little more scaffolding, but I don't have a different like expectation. You're doing 8 pages, you're doing
If we
6.
had a dual enrollment section only, I could do that. But this is incorporating students that go to tech and all sorts of
I
things.
see, I guess I see what you're saying, yeah, because if students find out that this is an academic course, this is what I'm taking, and it's not just called dual enrollment, okay, yeah. We all gotta make our own decisions for what works.
All right. Thank you for
Thank you.
putting so much
Thank you.
thought into that and appreciate it.
Have a nice evening.
You
Yep.
too.
Thank you.
All right, and then last, we have journalism and multimedia, which is,
That's not the school year.
very revised, so that's why I have a handout of the curriculum document. The psych one was just a revision, so we didn't have the full curriculum document. But, So the Wall Street Journal is the main focus of the journalism and multimedia course. I'm presenting it because the teacher, Miss Heron, who wrote it, is on maternity leave. So, but we met a couple of times, maybe 3 times throughout the school year to go over what she was working on. The course description is here, but the summary is it's a writing-focused course, journalism, and students learn reporting, journalism, ethics, and storytelling while working together to produce the school newspaper, the Wall Street Journal, and they produce it in digital and print format. There's 5 units of study. The first is the introduction to journalism. So students talk about journalistic principles, how to evaluate newsworthiness. They talk about ethical interviewing, the inverted pyramid structure, and really learn about what is journalism, how do journalists decide what's newsworthy, and so on. The individual roles and team processes that go inside a newsroom, because then in the next 4 units, that's each edition of the school newspaper. And then each one has a focus. So you can see edition 1's focus is on structure and clarity in your writing. They write articles with clear structure and clarity. They analyze text that they see for structure and clarity and learn from what we would call mentor texts. They write drafts, then they have the final document, and they produce the newspaper. The second edition, or would be the 3rd unit, is about integrating strong quotes. How do you know what quotes to pull from an interview or a resource? How do quotes strengthen the credibility, bring your stories to life? How do reporters choose what quotes to use? And what are the ethical, legal considerations guiding the use of quotes? And then the next edition focuses on facts and bias. How do journalists distinguish verifiable facts from opinion, inference, or bias? What reporting and sourcing practices help them to ensure their accuracy, and so on. How do they use language that is not biased, intentional about their language choice and their structure? How to write articles that don't have bias, using facts to back up information, and so on. And again, they use model text that the students read and analyze, and then they write their own article. And the last one, the last edition, edition 4 of the Wall Street Journal, is adding depth and detail to your writing. So it's heavily focused on writing, but it is available in online as well as print. And they essentially create a newsroom for the course to produce the school newspaper.
It's very relevant.
This is
Yeah,
great. I
right?
love the newspaper. I also teach journalism, so this is fun. But what I see, first off, is a typo on the second to last page that she made out of. It says.
Oh, B9
without-
wording.
Yeah, so that might, you might want to fix that. There may be others that I missed, but that one stood out. And then it might be here and I don't see it, but attention to the ethics of journalism, as in ethics and famous court cases like Tinker and Hazelwood. So I just didn't see it in here, that's all.
You're saying you think we should add that?
Yeah, ethics of journalism and the legal attention to, the landmark cases. I don't see it. Maybe it's just not written, but it's involved in one of these.
I don't know if she included them in here, if they're not, if you don't see them, but I will add them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Tinker and Hazelwood.
Okay.
And then ethics, she mentions it during quotes, the ethics of quoting someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe she could have Bradley go in as a special guest, maybe. I don't know why I just thought of
Now
that.
we're all scared. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know how to just.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. I think.
All right. Buckle in, folks.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's that?
Buckle up.
Okay, and let me introduce the agenda, but it is.
Act 339.
Act 339.
Yep. All right, so I will try to be succinct. In around 2016, school districts were obligated to create and approve a Act 339 plan. Well, it's really called a K-12 guidance, comprehensive guidance plan. Yep, it'll be up and available. We'll ask you to vote on it next Thursday, but it'll be, I'm sending it to the, yep, I sent it. So here's the gist of the K-12 guidance plan. So it's called Chapter 339. Ultimately, it was placed in school code and it required the district to provide academic guidance, career education and planning, post-secondary transition services, and social emotional supports. So it was across the domains. Now, unintentionally, they called it a guidance plan, but it really is not for guidance counselors alone. The career education and work standards are really what the plan reflects, and that has a lot to do with teaching and learning, as well as the guidance curriculum. So our counseling team is like, wait a minute, why is it always on us? It really isn't. So you heard Dr. Wolof talk about those new courses. We're trying to naturally embed career education and work standards in the courses because it's to make the course relevant to career education and work. And so there are several components that are required in the comprehensive guidance plan, and the ones that are required are the ones that are tabbed, and we'll take a quick look at. I'm certainly not going to ask you to look at all of them. I will talk in this presentation about what is in there. The one thing we did from our last plan to this one is to really tie it to our comprehensive plan. There is very clear and specific objectives and goals in our comprehensive plan around creating engaging and dynamic curriculum, providing mental health supports, SEL, those types of things. And so you will see that the approach that we took in the academic domain was around the big ideas of our comprehensive plan, which we approved a couple years ago. And so really, we're asking them to keep track of the artifacts, which is a requirement. In Smart Futures, soon to be Naviance, because we're moving to Power School, increase participation in dual enrollment by 10%. And so we believe that's achievable because we are actively seeking additional dual enrollment opportunities for students. And an increase for the percent from the baseline of the survey last year, from 63.7% to 70% of students who report a connection between learning and their future. And so, we are striving to create that relevance for kids, and we're hoping to improve when we administer the survey in the spring that will increase. Our goals are coursework relevance. You'll see that also is around well-rounded students. One thing we put in the plan that is really important because it's a requirement of this, not necessarily to have a Perk Up education entity, but we meet with Perk Up regularly. Angela Traub, Frank, it is a huge driving factor to our real work experience in the district. And so, we want to continue expanding those opportunities, industry tours, mentoring, internships, those types of things we still need some work around. And then equity. We're really looking at chronic absenteeism. We're looking to reduce it for the students that we know certainly struggle, which are mostly our special education population, to be honest with you. Go ahead.
Go ahead. It says reporting coursework is relevant to college preparation. Does that butt up against like what we were just talking about in the ad hoc, like they don't see it as relevant to their career?
Correct.
Is there room for that in here, like, or what's our goal?
Yeah.
Do we want to narrow that or not, or broaden it?
Probably want to broaden it.
Right.
And perhaps it's relevant to college or career.
Okay.
Because that is one of the things that Angela Traub often says is, you know, often when kids are seeking college, they're very clear about that. They understand the expectations. The career thing's a little more intangible, which is why those industry-based tours, those apprenticeships, those shadowing experience, we really need to enhance because we feel like that's definitely, while we have a lot, those are the pieces that are missing, so.
So as we approve this,
Big
we
idea too.
wanna
Yep, yeah.
take, like, revise.
Okay. Thanks.
Already-
She's
what?
taking my notes.
Yes, you got it.
What is this, a live Google Doc? We just
Yeah, right?
Fix it right now. I
Um,
like that.
So there's also a career domain, and really we're looking for instruction around the career education work standards in Smart Futures or Naviance. The challenge is, it's due this year, we use Smart Futures, we're moving to Naviance. So we had to write it for the future, but also document, it's strange. Anyway. But really, you'll see again, shadowing, internships, apprenticeships, and dual enrollment, post-secondary surveys. We ask in the survey, in the comprehensive planning survey, do you feel prepared for college? And then there is a separate question that says a career. And so we're trying to get to both of those in the survey. So we'll talk about that in ad hoc when we look at potentially refining the survey
Paige,
questions.
those Smart Futures and Naviance, they like help kids like plan for their, it's almost like a guidance office feature that's digital now.
Oh, cool.
Like when I went to school, it was just a paper little
Correct.
like survey thing, but
You
this
wrote a
sort of
resume.
houses
Yeah.
all of their,
Oh,
like
awesome.
that part of their education, which they don't necessarily get in
Yeah.
math, science, English.
And there's videos and there's
Yeah.
questions to answer. It's very interactive.
You take like a
At the
personality
elementary,
survey and your skills.
All your
and it makes it
interest
clear that-
inventories are in there, yeah.
I like
So, and
the
I'll show you
college
where
board.
that is.
Yeah, like how, yes, how you.
I just got an
credit
invitation
cards work.
from the high school, from Angela,
Uh,
to,
To be a partner?
uh-huh,
Yeah.
yep,
So,
to my own Naviance, so.
we also try to embed the notion of the portrait of a graduate, problem solver, critical thinker, lifelong learner. We're really hoping, and this is, as Melanie just said, she got an invitation. We're trying to embed partners in our career clusters. And so Naviance has the ability for us to digitally invite business owners, community leaders in a career cluster to come in and serve potentially and hopefully one day in an apprentice or an internship environment. We want to host 2 business tours and continue our scholarships, and we want 80% of students to participate in one or more community-based learning. Right now, the challenge is Western Center.
Is what?
Western Center students. They don't necessarily get all of those experiences. Now, they're getting great career preparation. They're not benefiting from the potential, unless they go out on co-op, you know, the things that we do in the work environment.
Can you excuse them from this?
They-
Like,
yeah.
They do a lot of things.
Yeah, and that's why you'll see,
So.
it's not all students,
Yeah.
it's 80%.
Oh, or
So-
say 80, or make it, you know, I don't know, 90% of non-tech school students, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Can you
well,
word
some
it
of
like
our
that,
tech
or-
school students do it though.
Oh,
It's just they're a harder group to get out there.
They're
Because
busy.
they're in,
they're busy,
Right.
and like, my daughter just went to HOSA, like, that's,
yeah,
that's a community-based thing. like,
Correct.
So, I don't know.
and remember, the Western Center is part of our 339 plan. So, the other piece of is closing the artifact gap. If you remember the TSI plan, reality is it shouldn't be that hard.
Was it, and it was still meaningful? It was still, okay. Okay,
We're hoping that it becomes more meaningful
okay,
instead of just an artifact,
yeah,
you know?
I understand.
Social emotional learning domain, so this is the 3rd of the domains in the Act 339 plan. We're hoping to reduce kids reporting a low sense of belonging through the iterations of this survey. Integrating SEL lessons aligned to the CASEL standards or competencies. and 2 SEL-focused interventions annually. So we have a framework, we administer a benchmark SEL screener. We are likely moving away from that. You heard me say that in our budget. And we've been looking, Power School has one. The counseling team also has been piloting an internal one that's at no cost, that they think achieves the same goal, which is great. So we'll be evaluating that at the end of the year, but looking at what our tier 2 and tier 3 interventions look like. And we've also started discussing, in the Portrait of a Graduate, it talks about resilience and effective communication. And so how can we build lessons that reflect resilience and good communication? So service learning, mentoring, student connections with caring adults. What we've learned is that not all kids can point to somebody within the building who they think will listen. And that was also a question in the survey, was around, you know, is there an adult within the building? I would say there's a lot of kids that do. I mean, without question, but we want to make sure all kids do. And then you'll see attendance improvement, and then at least 90% of students receiving, here's where it's just receiving tier 2 or 3, based on their risk factors from their screener, demonstrate growth. And so that is tracked through MTSS. So the counseling team has worked on treatment, and we call, in their field, they call it treatment, but if they're running an intervention, what is the pre-post data showing? You know, are they growing in those skills and behaviors in order to just engage with what everyone else is engaging with?
Can I add, effective communicator, I will just say that I've heard from some, I think I told you this, freshman level college students saying that as far as Upper Perk, like my daughter is one of them, saying that Upper Perk did not prepare her as well as she would have hoped for the sheer amount of public presentations they have to give. And I've heard it now from multiple, that just because, and I've been thinking about it, your college profs are mostly from industry, they're not educators. So they come in from, I was a court reporter and now I'm teaching, and they really do the old fashioned, so there's like a disconnect there. But Eden and some of her other friends reported, because I asked, the public speaking piece, which I see you're going to offer a public speaking
that's
course.
Yeah.
But with the Navians and Smart Future, whatever, perhaps, I don't know, and across the all curricula, like.
Well, and we even talked about even like a capstone presentation. You know, a lot of school districts have that senior presentation where you're, I mean, that is like the
Like your
final,
thesis.
like, here it all is, here's what I learned here. And that, you know, I would say the high schools that I have taught and had it, I'm not sure, does
They
Boyertown?
do. The
My kids had
just
it at
like,
Saturday,
it's their first job interview, and the whole staff comes, they present to boards, panels of, the
Yeah.
superintendent joins a panel.
Yeah.
And it's very serious, they have appointment times, like, it is, that
Yes.
is the day. It's very difficult to schedule wise, but it's, to me, it's worth it. These kids, they come in, they dress their best, they do their they're very proud of that, and
I sure do.
I recommend some conglomeration that looks like
I
that.
see that on here.
Yep, so that's, we're moving, we haven't had that.
No.
So that's definitely something that we're trying, although the scheduling piece of it and getting everyone in there.
Oh, it's
It's a
I
bear.
look at my little piece of it, I'm like, no way, how did they do this?
Yeah.
It's the whole district, actually. They bring elementary teachers up
Oh,
for
wow.
a half day. I can share more in
Yeah.
the future if you want.
So that's something we're definitely moving in the direction of, so. So when we talk about career development, here's sort of how the vertical alignment works. There's awareness and interest exploration at K-5 in elementary. And it looks exactly as you imagine, you know, who's in your neighborhood, what do they do, like those kinds of things. There's 9 lessons per grade. Kids aren't gonna get all 9 lessons. So right now, we're looking at Naviance to decide what lessons, and so that's why those charts look really super long. We're not doing all of those. We're still working through identifying them, but we put it in there because we might. Career exploration and pathway exposure in 6 to 8. We spend a lot of time, you'll see in the CTE section, educating kids about the Career Technical Education Center. We don't spend a lot of time talking to them about the high school and what is available.
Yeah.
And the kids have said, please, can we do that? And so certainly we will do that. And then 9 through 12, the focus is really post-secondary preparation and transition. What are we doing from a curriculum perspective? Mrs. Bass, when she was here with K-3, really sort of dialed in and looked at both what is available in Smart Futures, what is available in Naviance, and then what is available in social studies, which has a lot of connection to the career education and work standards. And so there are some of those. In 6th through 8th grade, we start really talking about clusters, interest inventories, pathways in high school. How do you get into the Western Center? What are the skills required? I'm gonna be really honest with everyone sitting here. I appreciate we have a lot of applicants. We don't necessarily have a lot of applicants, or we have several applicants that don't have the academic skill set to be successful in a trade. There is, the Western Center requires competency in reading and math. And sometimes those kids are going there without those skills and they're not wildly successful. So, you know, we're still deconstructing this, that CTE is not hard, because trades are hard. The manuals are written at a reading level that some kids cannot consume. And so, you know, the math and computation required in some of, I mean, even carpentry and culinary and those things, they're not for the faint of heart, right? So we have to do a better job talking with families about the skills. Remember, the Western Center was not always 9 through 12.
Right.
It used to be 10 through 12, so we could make sure 9th graders were getting a strong foundation to apply. That is different. And that's different in the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when did that begin? 5
Yeah,
or 6 years
it
ago?
was always a 3-year program.
What was
Alexis
there?
was always really, Alexis, our superintendent before Ellen, she didn't want 9th graders there at all.
Yeah, and we
She's
used to
adamant
only
about
allow
it.
10 who demonstrated skills to be successful
I think that's
at
pretty
that.
common.
Was that a
Not to have
district?
Usually
No,
10 and-
the Western Center, you know, I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not sure how it happens. So we still have room to educate our
So the
middle level
ninth
parents.
grade goes to Western, is that all labs? I do call it that. Does every lab except 9th grade?
Yeah, every program. So, I mean, and, you know, being familiar with being a high school teacher, you know, sometimes foundationally 9th graders just need a little more support.
Well,
But the problem is if they don't get in 9th grade, they don't save spots, so then they don't get in at all. And so
That
we
is
don't
kinda
want
stuck.
our kids to be at that disadvantage
Yeah.
either.
So
So,
them all be prepared for.
correct, that's really what we're talking about. So career planning, resume writing is something that they don't do it to high school, and we're like, but with Naviance, kids' activities are building this resume for them, and then in Naviance, you'll see the activities are about refining a resume, the
It's
more
not
academics.
perfect.
It's not, no, I'm sure it is not.
I'm thinking of 11th
I'm
graders who
sure
don't
it's
know
not.
their zip code.
Yeah.
How are you gonna write a resume?
Right? So the goal is to really build that vertically so they actually have a healthy resume. Interview preparation, and post-secondary planning. So this part, and it's in here, it's really about our CTE opportunities. We do spend a lot of time. The one thing we're trying to do now is with our middle school kids is to show them how pathways are similar to career and trade, the programs. And so, you know, that you could have an opportunity, if you're interested in criminal justice, we also have forensics, right? We also have psychology. When you're a criminal justice major, oftentimes you're also a psychology minor, you know. And so we're trying to show them that there's diversity and you could choose either option. Industry-based credentials at the Western Center are obviously really healthy, and that's what they do a great job at. And so there's a lot of certification kids can get if they are successful at the Western Center. So how do they learn about it? Here are just some of the activities that kids do. We do lessons about community roles, K to 5. We talk about, the activities have jobs embedded, and so I'm happy to pull up a screen one day if you want to see. They're really kind of cute, and you get to go into all these jobs, and then we talk about the trades. And then they collect a portfolio. In the middle school, we give explanations of career clusters. There's a ton of presentations that happen. There are tours at the Western Center in 7th and 8th grade. There is a very healthy representation of the trades at our career days. Now we're asking for presentations of our high school outside of just course registration, but to really show kids what the high school has to offer and how that aligns, and then the application. So I met with the middle level counselors today. We had 78 8th graders apply.
Oh,
That's the lowest it's ever been.
okay,
We've had 120.
yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of kids going. And almost all of them generally get in. And as you saw from Mr. Livingood's budget, I think we're like 50% of the Western Center. So 9 through 12, we still do presentations to any new students. You know, the challenge becomes getting in. Once you're in high school, it's very rare. We do a lot of advisement for students who are in CTE. They still will take you over to visit. The interesting thing is balancing a student who goes to the Western Center who wants to go on to a 4-year college or university. The schedule is very limiting for
Yeah,
those
like
students.
Leona says, she can't get in all the, like, she wants
Correct.
DE courses, of course,
Yep.
and like, but I don't know, have you guys made some changes? Cause it didn't look that bad this last time for next year. I thought she got in most of what she wanted.
Yeah, I mean, not substantial changes. I think sometimes what happens is more kids are requesting, so we're offering more sections,
Okay.
which makes it available.
Yeah.
You know, previously, we may only have a single section of something,
Yeah.
and that is offered. I mean, a lot of our conversations when we look at course registration is,
Yeah.
oh, that can only be here, but that means our AM kids or our PM kids can't get it.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and then we promote it across lots of different venues.
And then there's Keith, he promotes it.
Well, he does promote
Yeah, he's
it
really
all
good
the
at
time.
it.
He is a strong advocate.
Loves to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so what happens from a career perspective, you know, we do a lot of counseling, we talk about workforce entry and apprenticeships. In Frank's presentation of the program of study, we've created space for apprenticeship, for work-based credit to happen, and so we're trying to move the needle in the program of study. We're also looking at military service. Ruth is a wonderful advocate for that, and then career and technical. So we're looking at all of those options for kids. Graduation planning meetings happen right in 9th grade, and then every year after that. We do resumes. I'm actually participating. Our 10th grade English teachers have interview sessions for kids, so I'll spend the Thursday and Friday of next week. They're interviewing, I'm interviewing them. They're really jazzed, I'm sure. There's a ton of support around FAFSA, which, if you're not familiar with that, it is
Obnoxious.
I asked our counselors for support when I did it.
I thought it was easy.
Stop, I can't. I
Oh,
just,
me-
I don't even know why I waste my time, but anyway, that's just an editorial comment.
I
And
was
then,
like, this is what, like, when I was in college, it was like this little bubble sheet and all that, like, I thought it was very easy. being
I'm always
digital.
like, what is happening here? And I still haven't done it.
Oh,
So, yeah.
me neither.
Yep, I know, I'm like, I think May's the deadline, so I feel like I'm safe, I've got one more. I know. It opens in October and I do it in end of April. Anyway, so that's, so advisory, one of the components, you have to have an advisory committee for an Act 339 plan. Some of you have participated and are wonderful. We just had one last week. We had our first one in November. Angela Traub, our college and career counselor, runs that. We invite students, parents, all of our post-secondary partners, local business and community agencies, higher ed organizations. So we've had wonderful participation. Western has a rep that comes, the Chamber, Perk Up. We have tons of employers who engage in that. School board members were there, and then post-secondary institutions. So, you know, Penn State, Kutztown, Montco, RAC was there. So we meet once annually, always. Angela, now that in her job, we do a beginning of the year and an end of year one. And so from that, we ask for feedback, we ask for ideas, and then we try and refine what we're doing. We are required to look at data in order to understand where we are in our mission of our Act 339 plan. One of it is we have to collect artifacts in grades 5, 8, and 11. They are, you know, it's 6, 6, and 12 ultimately. So that's what we do. That's what counts in our Future Ready Index. We also look at our 158 pathways, the manner in which kids are meeting our graduation requirements. And so straight proficiency on the Keystone exams. I'm just giving you a sample of what last year looked like. We had 148 kids be proficient on the Keystone, right?
Could you, no, I'm sorry, I don't know what CEW artifacts are, I don't know.
Oh, career education and work standard artifacts. So there are standards, so we're asked to collect artifacts in each grade band.
Okay,
So K to 5,
okay.
right, we have to
Okay.
show, and that they're working across the, you know, we have awareness,
Okay, that's what I said.
acquisition, right, so we have to do all of that, and then we have to submit a PIMS report, and it just is a yes or no. In 5th grade, what is the percent of 5th graders who had 6 artifacts? And it's 100, because they do all of these
Right.
activities, and so, but that's what gets reported
To the state?
to the state.
Okay.
What also is asked of us is, when our kids graduate, there are multiple ways that kids can graduate.
Right.
Act 158 came out, and it gave a whole host of pathways to graduation. Of the students last year, we had 148 students who were proficient on all their Keystones. We had 40 students who had a combination of scores that met the criteria. We had 2 students seek alternate pathways, and they have to collect artifacts and do certain tasks. We had 43 students use the evidence-based pathway, and I can share what those pathways, I'll send it to you. There's very specific activities or tasks that are embedded. We had 18 students who graduated using the career and technical education pathway, and then we had 8 students who graduated on IEP goals. So, you know, that's a,
Does this count against you? This is all win.
Yeah.
You're just saying,
Yeah,
this is
I would
how
say,
we,
yep.
like,
Yeah.
got them over
We just
the-
always, I mean, our hope is
Okay.
always that,
check. Did the things. Okay.
yeah,
That we have the pathways.
Yeah, we have pathways.
and that
We're
kids can
doing
leverage
it.
them. Yeah,
Yeah, and they do, and that, you know, they're
and
not all exactly the same, and that's why we
Yeah,
have.
and I
okay.
think last year, when Frank was presenting the TSI plan, it talked about the senior plans and working with kids, developing goals to try and get them to achieve, maybe not proficiency or composite, but one of the other options.
So one thing to understand is, this is where we are now, but this is not where we began. We began, didn't we, with the proficiency and composite only as options, right? They were high stakes. So
Right.
that's why now we see this. It had its kind of good side and bad
Yeah.
side of presenting these other options.
Correct.
Like you talked about, I think, in the previous meeting, one of the bad things is, or like, you know, negatives, is students do take some of these benchmarks, like the Keystone, and say, well, it doesn't matter because I have another pathway.
Correct.
So that is one thing that kind of hurts.
Yeah.
But, but yeah, so it is
Well,
what it is.
And truthfully, some kids don't, you know, they for whatever reason, you know, religious, they don't take the Keystone. So,
And that
Yeah.
counts against us too
Yeah,
in the
correct.
participation category.
yeah. So, you know, we just share that because that's something that we're asked to
And
look at.
And Andrea, the pathway for your benefit, because you weren't here, you know, it's only been the last couple of years that
Correct.
we've had those pathways.
This
The
is
difference.
probably 4 years,
Has it
maybe
been that?
5.
Act 158?
Yeah. We
Feels
look
like
at,
it's yesterday.
That's from
Yeah.
the state.
Goes
Yeah.
faster than
It does. It does.
the other thing that we look at, and some of the challenges here are, when we talk about the Western Center, we like to celebrate it, but we do look at enrollment data,
Right.
and we look at certification data. And so, you know, we have to have very honest conversations about what I just said.
Right.
Are the skills aligned with the skills checklist? Do we believe a child could actually engage in all of the years and sit for the NAPD? And so, you know, that's something that we continuously have to go back to the Western Center and talk about. We want the kids going there to get the maximum benefit, but also get those certifications on the back end.
Right.
And so
Like
how do we
dual enrollment.
continue,
Yeah.
right, how do we continue to support them? And so that is something that we talk about internally as well as externally with the Western Center. AP participation and dual enrollment is something we are looking to increase. We had 118 students last year and 185 students take at least one AP exam. A lot of our AP kids take 2, 3.
Right.
They're burning the candle, I mean, really. So it's good, but we see that as a sign of a really robust and healthy program of study and course offerings for kids. We look at SEL screening results, we ask parents, you know, we have survey questions in the comprehensive plan, as well as the PA climate survey about, you know, is our program healthy for kids and offering them what they need. And then we use that for program improvement. You saw 2 people here tonight talking about the SEL data piece of it. So what is our timeline? Tonight, we're looking for the board workshop approval request. The whole board as a whole will get an email from me tomorrow with the Act 339 plan. And then it has to be submitted March 31st to PDE.
Okay.
So I tabbed these because there are some interesting sections, you know, as you look at it between now and next Thursday. They are the pieces that we talked about, you know, how do we align to the comprehensive plan? Career delivery, you'll see there's a lot of things. What we tried to do is explain what the task, we changed it to digital resource. This will get streamlined, to be honest with you, because you don't need that many. But we're just in a place where we had to tell them everything because we're taking back Smart Futures and implementing that. So this is where you're gonna see all this like stuff. What we also have to do on page 13 is a counseling calendar. So the state requires us to verify that there are activities happening every month across the academic, career, and social emotional domains. And so that, we try to spell that out by grade band, but there's tons of things to do across all of those domains, and that's not even addressing kids on a day-to-day basis. So you'll see that's a large section. If you look at page 17, kids are required to have career plans, and so it does explain what is involved in those career plans. Much of that is done, as Trina mentioned, Paige, and we're talking about will be done through Naviance. That's where the warehouse for all of that. On page 18 is our, I don't know why it's called occupational information, to be honest with you. This used to be our resource section, but now they've retitled it. But across all of the career clusters, we have to list our partners. And so that is a large section. And those are both partners in Perk Up, but partners who, you know, Angela will reach out to, or kids will reach out to. And so she keeps this list updated. Cumulative records, it talks a lot about Smart Futures and Naviance. If I could take you to page 35. This is our social emotional development. It talks about the 3 tiers that we offer. You know, obviously, tier 1 is SEL lessons. In K-8, it's second step, and we were talking about this in ad hoc. In 6 to 12, it looks more like advisory, right? So counselors will go in and have more advisory-based lessons, and then we're trying to get PBIS K to 12. What you heard tonight in the previous meeting is we're making some progress 6 to 8. We've got a long way to go in 9 to 12. And then tier 2 is really through the MTSS process and the types of groups that we run. And then tier 3 is really one-on-one. It's one-on-one behavioral and emotional support. We also engage, we have a SAP provider, and they do very specific groups with parent consent. And so I always draw that out because there's often questions related to SEL. What else? You'll see on page 36, and it printed funny, but it will show you the description of the service, what the counselor has to do, and how we talk to, like, how do administrators and teachers learn about that work. And so across Universal, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and they call it tier 4, but that's really systems level planning. And then, you know, there's stakeholders and how they're involved. So the plan is, now here's what I will say. So I'm giving this to you. This is what gets submitted to the state. It's the most, I will attach this, I think I did, in what I sent you. This is what it looks like because they don't ask for a ton of detail. But I give it to the board like this, so you can actually see what we're talking about in this. So I will send both of these to the full board tomorrow. And the nice part about this plan is it's very fluid. We submit it, and then if we need to change lessons or add lessons or change, you know, add on that first big idea, we're gonna do, you know, college and career, they're very amenable to that. We spend a lot of time in the fall talking about, well, but if we're changing the Naviance, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, well, we'll just put it all in there. Because then we put it all in there. That was a lot, but any questions?
Does PBIS, are there grants for that, for
So-
PBIS implementation?
So we have had a partnership with the MCIU that is at no cost to us. So
Okay.
the MCIU, because we're a county district, and they come out and they have, you know, they do all that initial training. They get you through all phases of implementation. And so Karen in the middle school is just starting that, but all 3 of our elementaries are all the way through. And then with PBIS through the county, they have to collect their discipline data in Swiss.
Mhm.
We do annual surveys. But that has been afforded to us at no cost from
And
the IU.
PBIS, maybe these are hitting two separate things, but you are required from the state to implement some form of SEL. I have 0 problems with SEL on a base level, like
Yep.
I do it, I I don't know if people don't want that, I don't know what they're thinking, but, anyway, but I don't like second step necessarily, and you had said earlier, it's like some parents kind of oppose it, and that's like been stalling it out a little bit. I don't love them, but, it's SEL. Can PBIS take the place of second step, or, are we dealing with, are these hitting two different areas?
I would say that second step is the instructional piece of this. PBIS is the structure.
Mhm.
So, we're teaching skills across the SEL competencies, where in positive behavioral support and intervention,
Yeah.
you're looking at what is the, I think
It's
that,
the tool.
I think, and I think they overlap, but, did we teach good bathroom
Right,
behavior?
yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? I mean, I use that as an example because as a former elementary principal,
Oof.
we had to teach good bathroom behavior.
Don't play
and then we
terrible
had to-
soccer with the
you
rolls
know,
of toilet paper.
So we're teaching, conflict resolution in second step, but we may be reinforcing and modeling and talking about good bathroom behavior in PBIS. And then we're rewarding positive behaviors. That's what the B-Bucks are and all of that. And so this is not graded.
Yeah.
This is actively taught. This is how it's generalized and reinforced by the school, if that
I get that.
makes sense.
I just thought I would ask. the
But
question.
sometimes they overlap, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Bad, conversation, fighting at the cafeteria.
But second step is providing like
The
the
direct
lessons,
instruction.
the actual, yeah, I mean, I get that, it's not the worst thing. I think that with a couple of their units, people were like, turned off by the whole
Yeah.
program, which, okay.
And I always say when we talk about second step, it is, parents are always encouraged that if they have an issue to come and look at it. If they have objections to certain lessons, kids, parents have the ability to request exemption from
I
this.
think we worked through all that, I
Yeah.
don't wanna rehash it necessarily, I was just, asking a question like, I've also heard there are just a lot of, initiatives, so I'm always on the hunt to combine
Yeah.
or, do something that, if we can get grants or the
Yeah.
MCIU free, whatever, can we replace, but that's
But
a
I think-
conversation too for another day anyway.
But I also think PBIS, the whole building has to agree.
Yeah.
Building or district. Or-
I would say, I see the
By
three
building?
PBIS teams, they
Uh-huh.
operate a little differently.
Okay.
Their reward system looks a little different, but in middle and high school, if we're gonna agree on etiquette or behavior or building-wide expectations, we all have to agree on addressing them. And that's, it's hard. It's just, it's so, and kids are much more mobile in middle and high school,
Well, they're going from room to room.
Yeah.
This teacher has these expectations and teaches this way,
Yep.
and so.
Yep, and then we have in the high school, kids are in 2 different buildings with a whole host of different
Mhm.
people who don't do that.
Right.
So, there's just a lot of, it's great, I've seen it done wonderfully, but there's a lot of moving pieces. So this is the plan we have operated under our previous plan. I think there are some things that are changing in here. Both because we're changing our SIS and we're changing our screener. And curriculum is now being considered the vehicle potentially for addressing some of the career education and work standards to build that relevance. So,
Thank you. Are there other comments or questions?
One thing, this isn't, I mean, I think that this is great, I do. I don't know what word I'm trying to say. I think that, this isn't even worth commenting on. I think there's a really good plan here. And I understand that the love of learning is what happens in the classroom. something that has been unique for me being a new board member is seeing how much we rely on metrics for everything, and how it almost feels,
Contrived.
yeah, there's something, it feels like an assembly line of sorts, and I understand that's because I'm looking at it through this lens now, and I understand that it becomes personal when teachers can build rapport with their students, and our goal isn't just to get them to the next step, but it's hopefully to create the love of learning. And that's just something I don't think that any educator has ever lost sight of. It's just something that's kind of, like, this really highlights that, is what I'm trying to say. So this is just a discussion,
Yeah.
this isn't really like a board comment, this is just,
And I don't
that's
know.
interesting to me.
Yeah, but what's interesting, and I don't know how you feel as a high school teacher, but it's just, I think the goal is always the love of learning and, you know, the desire to be good and do good
Right,
and find success however you define it. But, you know, what we hear from kids is that, you know, it's really about how well I do academically. It's not about that. It's about achievement but it's,
What they're not recognizing is when you have a relationship with your teacher and you are loving what you're doing,
Yep.
that,
right,
that's my philosophy of education.
Yep.
Like your self-esteem is going to rise, your own efficacy is going to rise. Like the kids don't, they're just, I got an A, I'm going to college, like,
Yep.
they're not.
and what's interesting is what I see in and I don't know here in the building a lot, what I see is kids who really seem to want to be there and are enjoying
Right.
their teachers.
Engaged.
But when they're asked in a format, like a survey, they're
Right.
like, ah, you know, but that's their opportunity to sort of say, no, I don't like that. But
I love
that's,
seeing how we've introduced classes and structure to things that they've been interested in. I think these are all wonderful. And, you know, this is EPS, that was ad hoc. We're measuring different things right now.
Yeah.
But I do think that the way that they're interconnected is very interesting, and that's something that I didn't really have insight to until
yeah,
I was sitting here. And I'm sure that as, you know, educators and administrators, this is something you discuss a lot. And I find it to be really, really
Well,
fascinating.
as the curriculum director person, I feel like the curriculum really dictates everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and to exactly what you're saying about what the students are doing in the classroom, like if we have a separate lesson talking about being respectful, but then we're not being respectful in the classroom, it seems contrived. And we've talked about that with our checklist CEW, the career standards, like
Right.
if we're embedding them in the curriculum and in the instruction, it feels more meaningful than making sure they did this one
And
activity.
it is a lot of things to tie together, and I think that
Yes.
this does this well. It's interesting to look at it through different lenses, that's all.
Yeah.
and I will tell you, you know, I've said this, and the kids are like, you want to stop some of this craziness? Make school more interesting. I mean, wow, way to put it simple.
But
Yeah,
because
but
it's
it's like,
twofold.
oh,
They need
okay.
to feel like what they're doing is going to equate to something. This is going to prepare me, marry those with a comprehensive plan, how to meet.
And do
Yeah.
it across such a
Exactly.
broad spectrum
Yeah.
of abilities.
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
right, and that's the one thing that public schools tasked with that many other schools are not. We don't choose who shows up here, but we are expected to support them and support them appropriately. And that is, every time I come to these meetings, I really do think that teachers and administrators are tasked with the impossible. And, no, I think. that
And
they
they're
do a really-
accountable for it too.
Yeah, I think they do a really good job of marrying all of these things to the best of your ability.
We try.
Yep.
I think everybody who gets into it tries. We try.
But there's so many different hats that we wear, and it's really,
But yet they're all connected.
yeah, exactly. You're in a play by yourself.
Yeah, that's it.
Now we're this hat, and we're this hat.
I think like I said earlier, after 25 years of teaching, I have gotten a lot better at meeting the kid where they are. Like I mean that. Like they come in, I taught dual enrollment for 7 or 8 years now, I guess, and at first I was like, do not let them in unless they pass these, you know, they've been to honors, they've done this, they've done that. Now, no, you wanna be here, you're in,
Be here.
you're in,
Yeah.
we're gonna, by the end, you are gonna go to college and be like, thank God. Cause writing those papers is like, another one of those things, the public speaking, they're like, what, I have to do this public speaking? The other part of it is writing a research formatted like essay, and some K through 12, like high school, 9 through 12 are like, oh, it's not that important anymore, it doesn't seem, no, it is important anymore, it still is. But yeah, that's where I started, was I was saying, like, they commit, I'll take them all, and by the end, you're gonna be so much better, and you're gonna be so confident when you get to college. Sorry, I'm talking about myself, this is not about me.
No, but that goes
Okay.
a long way, that
It
goes
does.
a long
Like-
way with kids.
They
And
have this
know,
confidence in
yeah.
the end. They 100% of them
Yeah.
report that, an improved I do survey them, an improved confidence in writing after my course. I asked them specifically, 100%.
Well, and you believe in them. And that's, I think, kids
That's what it's about.
recognize adults who do that.
Yeah.
You don't set limits. And that's, I mean, that's what we ask all teachers. Don't limit kids based on what you think. Give them a chance.
Sometimes that backwards works.
On that note, if there are no further comments, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Do we need an approval?
Oh, I don't think, no, these are presentations.
Yep, we,
No, it's
Just
gonna
send
go
it
workshop, right?
yeah,
Okay.
we'll have to put the quotes on,
Yeah.
for,
You get the right one.
so I would say, you know, once,
Yeah.
yeah, when we get the right quotes, I mean, if we're
So what's the
good,
motion then? To approve with, what?
Move it to,
To move it.
to
Yeah.
move those
To
recommended
recommend it,
resources
yeah.
forward.
You're making your
Okay.
recommendation.
Do I have a motion to approve
Motion.
these? Okay, and a second?
second, sorry.
Okay.
Yep.
Any opposed? Anyone in the audience?
They're full of questions.
All right,
out there.
and a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Really good.
Thank you for.
I was
for
so
approval.
tired when I got here. I was like, this is really right
Everything is so very involved, and I really,
You were reminding me of the
See why I'm
quote,
addicted to school board now?